So we're up to this Siman Pei Zayin Sif Hey in the Mechaber. That's what we're up to. So Shulchan Aruch, this is not Negeya, but it's good to know. And that is, at some point, right, you're allowed to eat eggs and cheese. It's an omelet. That's not a problem. You're not allowed to eat chicken and cheese. But if the fan is stirring, you could lower it to turn it. You could turn it also. Could turn it. There you go. Perfect. So you're allowed to eat eggs and cheese. That's mutter. Chicken and cheese, not mutter. So at what point does a chicken become an egg? Right? At some point, it's still part of the mother.
Which came first?
No. At some point, yeah. The question is. So that's the Shulchan Aruch. So Shulchan Aruch says like this: Beim hanimtzaim ba'ifus. You shech the chicken, and you open it up. Now again, it's not negeya because this doesn't happen. By the time you're buying an egg, it's already an egg. But beim hanimtzaim ba'ifus, if you have an egg that's found inside a chicken, imhem gemurais, if they're fully formed. Hainu, what does it mean fully formed? She'yeshem chalvain v'chalmain. It's got the white and the yolk. Even if it doesn't have a shell and it's still attached with a membrane, it has a sinew connecting it to the. I sound ignorant. I don't know. Chickens don't have wombs. Whatever the equivalent of a womb on a chicken is, so it's connected to the mother. Hareza gemura. It's completely finished. Is an egg? And you could eat that egg with cheese and milk. But if all it has is the yolk, you're not allowed to cook it with chalav. But you don't have to wait 6 hours from just eating. Again, this is an undeveloped egg, and it's just the yolk. So Scotchless writes like this: Siman Pei Zayin Sif Hey.
I'll bring it for now.
Yeah, it's always good to have. It's good, especially when it's not negeya to get dragged down the shach. It's good to just to see what he has to say. So he says, Beim hanimtzam ba'oifus lach shchitasan. Again, you shech the chicken, you open up, you find an egg. Im hen gemurais, the hainu sheyeshem chelmain v'chelvain, av b'shemur begidin mutalachem b'chalav. Now, okay, that was so far the Shulchan Aruch. V'yesh oimrim, now he quotes the Taz. Shirakim nigmar hal chelmain v'chelvain v'yesh legam klipa. The Taz is chaylik. The Taz says, no. You actually need some sort of shell, even if it's a soft shell. Apparently, you ever had it where you make there's sometimes like a white membrane around a hard-boiled egg? Sometimes like a very thin membrane. Even when you crack an egg to make an omelet, you can sometimes see a white, thin membrane. That's apparently the first thing that develops, and then later on, the harder shell develops. So says the Taz, you need that soft membrane for it to be completed.
Before we were talking about just the yolk and they would add an enclosure?
Correct. Yeah, just I guess somehow.
Just the innards of an egg
Correct.
without the outside?
Correct. No shell b'chlal. I don't know how it would look. Again, I don't know how it would look. It says the Taz, you need some sort of shell. And then you have the sheet of the Taz. The Taz concludes that lichatchila you should have a hard shell. Maybe you want to see the Taz. This is Kat and Vav. The Taz writes in Vav as follows. The Taz says, it's not that long we could see it. The Taz says, Marshal Hikshal Zeh. Again, the Marshal is questioning the Shulchan Aruch. It's not the Shulchan Aruch, it's the Torah and the Rishonim. The Marshal didn't address the Shulchan Aruch directly. And he says, Maishna Mashakasav Rajba Heviu Tur. Why is it that, maybe he's can't say it's a kasha on the Shulchan Aruch directly. The Marshal is asking, how is this different than what the Rajba writes? It's quoted by the Torah. Behika Tarnagoylis als Nava. Dim Hayamura Begidin have a Kabasim and Achai. Oh, it's a good kasha. Right? Defining when an egg becomes an egg and when it's no longer meat. You see the Taz? Taz of God and Vav. Yeah?
Where does it continue from here? Where does it go? Into 7 page above.
No, it's the same page. They repeated the page like Art Scroll. They repeated the page Art Scroll, you see. And there it is. So the Marshal is asking the following kasha. It's a good kasha. The kasha is like this. We're trying to define when is the egg no longer a chicken and when is it an egg. So what is it negeh? It's negeh for chicken and milk. right? For egg and milk, right? As opposed to being chicken and milk. It's also negeh even menachai, right? Let's say you hit a chicken, and the egg pops out. So if it's an egg, you could eat it. If it's a piece of the chicken, still, it's even menachai. So what's the psak? The psak is the two writes in Siman Pevav. Hikatana goyles als nava. You hit a chicken on the tail. Im hayamura begidin have a kavasa menachai. If it still has sinews, you can't eat it anymore. You're telling me sinews is already a fully fledged egg, so you could eat it with milk. If it's a fully fledged egg, then why is it even menachai? Yeah, that's the Marshal's kasha. Vein loymar shani hasam diish issa deraisa. Don't tell me. Well, over there, even menachai is asa deraisa. Over here, it's chicken. So the whole chicken and milk is only derabanan. He says, "Diminoli lachalik." How do you know that? Where do you find such a thing? Either it is or it isn't. So you're going to say that he's not sure now, and by deraisa he's machmer, and by derabanan, where do you find these chilukim? So he says, "V'tiritz v'zelo shana." The mashakasav le'el shalei nigbaru, hainu shalei nigbaru called sarchan. Af bishish chavoin v'chavoin v'rui lo'achim b'cholav. Afilin muris begidin. She'ein lahem tam basar klal. Achin kishehika ad shepila kol zman she'emuri chashiv k'basar menachai v'abetam talia milsa. It's a strange answer. I don't mean strange, it's hard to understand. He's saying the difference is, it's still considered chicken, but because it tastes like an egg, you could have it with milk. That's a little bit strange, because the definition of basar b'cholav should not be taste on taste. And he says, because of al zeh shekol zeh doichik lahalacha. The Marshal says that that's doichik. That's a hard answer. Ela kol zman, so this is the psak. Kol zman shavura begidin chashik v'basar l'chol b'nili. It makes sense to let's go be consistent.
So who said that taste was key?
So that's v'zel shen mashakasav le'el. So I'm assuming this is still the Marshal. Oh no, this is the Marshal. I guess explaining the tour. I'm not sure. I don't have. Do you mind passing me your? Yes, this is all the Marshal talking. The Marshal was Murray the Kasha. Said that's probably the Rajba's answer, that there's a distinction between taste and not, and then he says that's also daichik. So the Marshal himself says, as long as it's mura begidin, as long as it has sinews, is connected by some sort of, it's the equivalent of what the babies have on the belly, what was it called? Umbilical cord. As long as it's connected by mura begidin, then it's nashar basar. The kasa b'shem trumas hadashen ukumeduma. But now trumas hadashen says, listen, this is all very nice. Let me tell you the minig of Klal Yisrael. Kumeduma shenagu anoshim iser afilim aklipa chitzana kosher legamri. They're machmer even if it's kosher legamri. Vein lahachmer ze elach achila. But yeah, because man shenigur klipa afilu krum lov and l'chud sagi. So the Trumas Hadashen says the minig is to be machmer even if it has a hard shell. We do not take something that's out of a chicken and put it into cheese. It's a bad idea. And the minig of Klal Yisrael is to be machmer. Okay. Now. Yeah, I mean it would be maybe Kedai to talk about, not now, but we'll get into about the whole. It's completely as an aside that our eggs. It doesn't make a difference for this discussion, but it's always good to remember that our eggs nowadays are not fertilized. But again, it doesn't make it for this discussion. That's a shaila of whether the egg is considered basar or not. This is not a shaila of when is it no longer the mam.
Fertilized, it can never be basar.
No, but even if it's not fertilized, it's still a piece of the original chicken. It may not become a new baby, but at some point, meaning this is even not fertilized, even if it's not fertilized, so it can never become a chick, but it's still a chelek of, like, if it would be Evim and Achai, it means it's still a piece of chicken. At some point, not a new chicken, the original chicken, right? Fertilized just means it could become a new baby. It can never become a new baby, but at some point, it still at some point was a chicken, the mommy chicken, and then at some point it has to become no longer the mommy chicken. So that's the question, is when does that take place? Okay, fine. Right there in the Mechaber, Sif Vav. Hamu'ushan, smoking, right? We talked about in the beginning of the first halachas that we learned together, is that Basar B'cholav is only aser if it's derech bishul, right? Malicha and kibush, even if there's a transfer of flavors, is not Basar B'cholav deraisa. So now we're going to talk about other forms of cooking. Mu'ushan, right? Mu'ushan means if it's smoked. So smoking is interesting because it's kind of cooking, but kind of not cooking. It's an interesting thing. And if you cook in chame teveria,
steamed?
Which one?
Steam?
Which one? Ma'ushan or ma'ushal chamitveya? No, you're cooking, but you're not cooking. You're cooking in a natural geyser. So when it comes to Hilchas Shabbos, that would be considered told us chama, right? Right. When it comes to Hilchas Shabbos, right? What's the rule? If you cook in Eish, it's also deraisa. If you cook in Toldas Eish, right? So you have a fire, that's deraisa. So you barbecue something on the fire on Shabbos, it's also deraisa. You take a frying pan, put it on the fire, and then cook in the frying pan. So the frying pan was heated by the fire, it's also deraisa. Chama, if you cook directly in the sun, that's mutter. Toldas chama, if you cook in something heated by the sun, so solar panel, that is asa derabanan. Why? Because it's not derech, it's not the normal way to cook. So the question is, over here, I'm cooking in a natural geyser, chami taveria. So is that considered? It's the same water, but it's not being heated by fire. It's being heated by internal heat of the earth. The question is, ein loikin, that's not basa b'chalav deraisa. There's no malchus. V'chein hamavashal basa b'mei also.
You mentioned, going back to the steam, we said the other day, there's these methods of cooking pure steam. That is pure bishul. Because it's the
steam would be mu'ushan, smoking. That's not cooking in the actual steam. That's just smoking it. It's interesting. It's not exactly the same because the definition by Shabbos is based on the commonality. How common is it? Right? It's not based on, this could be a little different. By Shabbos, if you're cooking in the sun, or you're cooking in the fire, it's the same result. It's just a matter of is it normal. So Ramosha famously had a tshuva about microwaves. That Ramosha said that microwaves, he felt is a regular. It will be, at least they heard the way it was described in the 70s. Ramosha didn't have a microwave, but they described that it would be as it would replace an oven. So he said, okay, if it'll replace an oven, that is normal, and then it'll be also deraisa. I think it doesn't replace an oven, but. Maybe for some things, maybe for liquids, I'm sure. But so Rebelsky has the following shaila. First of all, so he was asked the following shaila. This was a big deal at some point. Labriut meals. Do you remember these? The chemicals. You pour chemicals. You take water. You have a chemical pack. You pour the water on the chemical pack, and then you put the food in. It steams. It's like the army has this. So the kasha is, what is that on Shabbos? So Rebelsky says, we had that for one summer. My family brought it with us when we were traveling. I thought it would replace, you don't have to kasher an oven. Doesn't taste as good. But, okay, so the question is, what exactly is the isser? So you're heating up the chemicals, and then you're cooking in the chemicals, basically. So Rebelsky says like this: Muter letzakas es hamayim im chemikalim agabe magnesium latiachas hamam yodam. The cooking of the water, that's fine. Why? Shenechshav lebishul b'chama, because he looks at the chemicals as chama. So you're cooking the water in the chama, that's fine. But to heat up the food, muter lechamim aidezarak machal yavish. You can only heat up dry food, but liquids, that would be toldas chama, which is aser derabbanan. Okay, interesting. So back to over here. So the Shulchan Aruch writes, "Ha'ma'ushin v'ha'ma'ushin b'chami tveria ein loikin alav, v'chein ha'mavashal basar b'mei chalav." Also, if you cook in mei chalav, we'll have to find out what mei chalav is. Mei chalav is that when you remove cheese, there's like a watery. You buy like a feta cheese, there's like a watery residue. It's not really milk. Oy b'chalav mesa, or the chalav from a dead animal, or b'chalav zachar, or the chalav from a male. We'll see male animal, male person. Or shebishal dam b'chalav, or if you cook blood in milk, potter. Blood is not meat. Ve'in like an alchilasim shem basa b'chalav, and there's no basa b'chalav. Now, so let's just for 1 second. Hold on. Yeah. So let's see what the Shach has to say about this. The Shach is Yud Dalid. I think Yud Gimel is the first Shach. Yeah. Ein loiken olav, avli isur mi'ika. Okay. Ein loiken is an isur. V'chein b'chalav meisa isur mi'ika kitl kaman. Gabi kachal. V'chein chulu mashid isur mi'ika. Afilu b'chalav zachar.
What does it mean chalav meisa me'chalav? What's
Well,
called mesa?
cholav mesa is from a dead animal.
Oh, literally from that.
Yeah, you shacht a cow, and
Oh.
then there's milk in there. That's only derabanan.
Oh.
Now, cholav zachar is also aser. Not derabanan, it's aser. It's just you don't get lashes. Cholav zachar is also aser. Now, cholav zachar is what? Is cholav zachar a male person or a male animal? So we'll see that in a second. Now, cholav mesa writes the shach in Yedalit. Kloimer cholav shiyatzim in alachar misasa. Loishna mesa miatzma nishach. Doesn't matter how it died. Eik loikin alachilasa misham basa b'cholav. Kol hazeh kasav Rambam. Oh, that's interesting. He says if you cook blood in milk, there's no lashes mitzad basa b'cholav. Says the shach. Kasav Rambam mashma daite. The misham basa b'cholav would ein loikin alachilasa. Ha mishum dam loikin alachilasa. It's still blood. You can't eat blood. You cooked it, and there's a shaila if you cooked blood. Is cooked blood aser deraisa or not? Svirle dam shebishlu overlove. Okay. Miyu anan kaimalon the dam shebishlu shemalchu ein el midarabana. We don't paskin that way. We paskin that if you cook blood, it's not aser deraisa. It's only aser derabana. Okay, fine. Now. Look at the Ramah. The Ramah says like this: the cholav zachar loy mikri cholav klal. Now that seems to contradict what he just got finished saying, right? He just got finished saying the cholav zachar is isura mi'ika, yeah. So the cholav zachar is isura mi'ika, but now the Ramah says cholav zachar is einay cholav klal. So which one is it? Is it milk or not? So the answer will be is that it depends. Male animal, yes. Male person, no. Let's go weiter. Bimnafel techa kedera shel basar in yoyser afil cholav mesa. Umei cholav yoyser mamachol k'mei cholav atzma afil bishul yesh l'asel l'chachila. Now, mei cholav, yeah, okay, it's still aser. Now, fine. Now this is so far as it hasn't been neged. This is a very negedic shayla coming up. The Ramah says like this: Yesh aimrim, the aser lachter se'esh. Tachas kedera shalavi kechavim. You are not allowed to cook. You're not allowed to stoke the coals on a fire if a guy is cooking on top of the fire. So what they would have is back then they used to have fires in the winter in the dining room to heat up the dining room. So you walk into the dining room and you want to raise the intensity of the fire just because you're cold. She's got a pot on top.
Wow.
And maybe it's bas b'chalav. Maybe she's cooking bas b'chalav, and maybe she cooked basar in the last 24 hours and there's chalav there, and you don't know what's in there. So it's a problem. Now before we go weiter, there's a very, very fundamental Rav Kiveger. We'll go through the Rav Kiveger because while it doesn't seem like it have negeya, have halachic ramifications, it has huge halachic ramifications for the laws of Shabbos. Rav Kiveger says like this: kosherly. I don't understand. You see Rav Kiveger?
Yeah.
In the Haggav of Yud Aleph. Yud Aleph, I think it's Yud Aleph by me. It's a Haggav. I'm sorry. It's in the Haggav. It's in the Ramah. The Aser Lachtais. You have it. It's right there. It's right above your finger, right there. You see it? Kosherly? Is that what it is? Yeah?
Yeah.
Kosherly. I don't understand. Ha'inu mechaven levashel. Rach Lachtais Esh. I'm not mechaven.
Alright.
I'm not mechaven. Davar Shem is chaven. Oh. So anyone who's learned enough Hilchos Shabbos knows. P'sikresha. Okay. Says the Rav Kiveger. P'sikresha lehave. Shema leh bishal v'kachav makadera basar v'gam chalav. B'tzarach loimer the dafka b'safik de lahaba shema leh yenasakin b'maiser shaloi k'may goyer kisa b'safel dav safik shema b'grusa leh yasaguma av safik do'avar k'may hocha dim yesh b'kadera b'lua basar b'chalav b'chide ze b'vadi yisbashal safik shema ein b'blias basar b'chalav ze mikri p'sikresha. Now this is negay the following. Meaning, davar shem ischaven is mutter on Shabbos. Psik reisha is aser. Now, says Rav Kiveger, but this isn't a regular psik reisha. This is called what's called a suffix psik reisha, or psik reisha l'sha'avar. What do I mean? I don't know okay, generally when it comes to, this is a Lamdish Shaila, I'll try to explain it the best that I can. When it comes to Hilchos Shabbos, generally, if I don't know whether the Isser will happen, it's mutter. If it's inevitable, it's Asr. Is this inevitable? The answer is I don't.
Act is inevitable, but because you don't know what's in there.
I don't know if it's inevitable. Meaning I don't have all the information. If I had all the information, I'd be able to tell you. See, every suffix, let's say what's the classic Davar Shem Mischaven? I'm dragging a chair on a ground floor, on a dirt floor. I don't know whether it'll make a hole or not. So I don't know whether it's inevitable. And it's not like I have information. It's not that I don't have information. I have all the information. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the future. Over here, I could tell you if it's inevitable if I'm missing components of the past. That's the difference. I'm missing past components. There are things that I'm missing right now. If I were to have those, I could tell you. So I don't know whether it's inevitable, but unlike every other Shaila Davar Shem Mischaven, which is contingent on future actions, it's not based on the future. There are things in the past that I'm missing. I have information that I'm missing. Called Safek Psikresha. Says Rabbi Akiva. That's what this is, right? Is it inevitable that I'm cooking Basar b'chalav? I don't know. I don't know what's cooking in there. The lid's covered. And even if I know that there's milk in there, but I don't know if she cooked meat in the last 24 hours. If she did, it's inevitable. If she didn't, it's not inevitable.
It's inevitable that you're contributing toward the cooking.
True.
Now we have to establish what you cooked.
But I can't know
But
that.
that act was inevitable.
True. But my point is, I would look at it as, it's a suffix. At the end of the day, how do you say psikresha means it's inevitable? Is it inevitable I'm Chal Shabbos? I'm cooking Basar b'chalav? No. So I would say it's mutter. It says you see from the Ramah, Safek Psikresha is Asr. Because the Ramah defines it like you said, which is that there's a difference between a regular Davar Shem Mischaven over here. It's inevitable if I had all the information. It's inevitable I'm cooking. I just don't know what I'm cooking. So the Ramah feels that Safek Psikresha is Asr. Now,
in other words, if we
look in Shin Tes Zayin, Sif Gimel in the Ramah. That's the Shin Tes Zayin, Sif Gimel in the Ramah. The Shulchan Aruch. Well, let's read the Shulchan Aruch first, and then we'll get to the Ramah. Kol shebemina nitzir chayav alav. Any animal that's normally trapped is chayav on Shabbos for tzeda. And bemina nitzir, if it's not normal to trap the animal, pater avalasa. It's only asa derabana. Hilkach zavuvim, aval pi she'ein bemina nitzir asal tzun. So catching a fly or a wasp or whatever, it's not normal to catch flies or wasps. Therefore, it's asa derabana. Okay. V'lochein yesh lizar shaliskar tevek katana listim kelim shezvum by b'Shabbos. Therefore, be careful not to close a box that has flies in it, because it might have a psikresha shiyatzudasham, because that's that's trapping flies. Look at the Bir Halacha. It's a lengthy Bir Halacha, but should read flow pretty nicely. So far, it's pretty simple. If you see a fly in a box, don't seal the box. Yeah. Look at the Bir Halacha. L'chein yesh lizar. Hine hataz chidish kan davar chadash. B'nim psikresha. The Taz was mechadish, an idea regarding psikresha. V'hu, t'kashem tehechem esaf kolonim yasa isser lo yamrin davar shem mischaven mutter. The same way every time there's a suffix whether an isser will be accomplished. That's called davar shem mischaven and it's mutter. Gegoyim begriras mita kisa v'safsol. The suffix hum yasa charetz aidei grira. Just like every time you drag a chair, not sure whether it'll make a hole or not, that's mutter. Kamoikein hu adin heichadem esaf kolonim yesh isser b'hamaisa sha'is of winim mischaven le'isser. Now I'm mutter Rav Shimon. So too, if you're doing an action and you don't know whether your action will accomplish an isser, that's also going to be mutter.
So how do you know there's any flies in the box?
Lochen mutter b'nil sateva, meaning you're sealing a box. I don't know whether there are flies in there. What would the Ramah say based on your day? He would say it's a problem. Why? Because it's a Safek Psikresha. It's inevitable the box will be sealed. Now, is it inevitable that there's a tzeda here? I don't know. Same way, it's inevitable that there's cooking. Is it inevitable there's Basar b'chalav? I don't know. The Ramah is consistently strict. The Taz feels that you're allowed to seal a box if you don't know what's in it. Why? Mutter b'nil sateva. Shema ein ba'atas vuvim. Now, lulei dvarav asvar lehipach. The Bir Halacha says, if not for the Taz, I would say the opposite. Im yisa yasa bevada aydei ha'maisa asafim yesh kan iser havli sveka deraisa. This is what you would say. The Bir Halacha says, I would say, the Bir Halacha talking, I would say, you know that there's going to be a sealing going on. And you don't know whether there's flies in it. It's a suffix deraisa. As opposed to, I don't know whether the box will be sealed. I know the box will be sealed. It's like over our case in Yerideh. I know there's going to be cooking. It's not like I suffix whether it's cooking. I know there's going to be cooking. I don't know what type of cooking. So it says I would say it's mutter. Oh, fine. Now he says, Matzasi b'chadusher kiveger Yerideh shemitzadagam kim etchila kesurasenu. Rav Kiveger, he quotes out Rav Kiveger, that Rav Kiveger deals with this shaila of a suffix p'zikration. L'chora, yesh lav raya le'ataz mitoisvis. Okay, let's go a little weiter. If you go towards the very, very end, and he says like this, Matzasi raya l'divrei ataz medivrei Ramban, b'mulchamas. I think it's like the first wide line. The Ramban writes, Maksha Gemara haloi mitzarif, kam Rishim David Teinu Shemizchav Mutter. Hiksha Rishonim Hamoider Rishim Pizikreisha. Tiritz Ramban Hachin Nasa Lishprich Mayim Lameicham V'lichashin Mitzarif Shem Lo Higi Litzirif Alpishin Escham Harbe Shemayim Manu Oisoi Shem Ekvar Nitzurfa. It's a shaila over here. The Gemara talks about if you're allowed to take, you're allowed to pour cold water into a very hot pot. The Gemara is discussing bishul. So the Gemara says, what about the fact that it's mitzarif? Mitzarif means, you ever seen like a blacksmith? It was really red. It was red hot, and then it solidifies it. It's makabepatish. Right? That's the last. When you're making a vessel, that's the last thing that you do to complete it. So why aren't you concerned that when you pour in the cold water into the hot pot, besides for bishul, it should be mitzarif? So the Gemara says, Davishem is chav. So it says the Ramban, what about the fact that it might be mitzaref? It says the Ramban, maybe it was already mitzaref, or maybe the temperature will not reach it. Meaning maybe in the past it had already gone through that solidifying process. So I know, so it's sort of similar. I don't know, I don't have enough information. There's information in the past that I'm missing. Will it be makabepatish?
The mice itself is
a little bit more in question. It's
right?
true.
It's like whether you fully closed the box or whether you fully cooked. We won't like it. It's not like what's in it or whether it's busted b'challah.
His point, true.
His
true, but his point is the Mishnah Berurah's point is they're both similar in the regards that it's information in the past that you're missing, and the Ramban says it's mutter. So he says that's a raya to the taz. Point is, Bekitzer, just to put it all together, it's a machlokes Taz and Ramah of suffix p'zikreisha. It comes up in the laws of regarding refrigerators or water fountains, right? A refrigerator, right? I want to open up the fridge. The motor's not on. Now, will me opening the fridge cause the motor to go on right away? I don't know. I don't know what temperature the fridge is. Let's say the motor goes on at 60. If the fridge is 61, if the fridge is 59, when I open it, it'll go to 60, it'll go on. If the fridge is 55, it won't. If the fridge is 65, it won't. I don't have all the information. So Rav Adia said it's suffix p'zikreisha. One of his cheshbonos when it comes to opening up a fridge, and he feels that you could rely on the Taz that suffix p'zikreisha is mutter. That's a Rav Adia shita. I'll tell you what.